Open world games have been a staple in this generation, and it doesn't look to be slowing down in 2018. We've got a bunch of open world titles to be excited for. And in this video, we're going to be going over 12 big open world games for the rest of 2018. Let's get right into this. Spider-Man. Yes, Spider-Man is finally being done justice in the video game realm, with the brand new Spider-Man game being done by Insomniac Games, the guys that have worked on Ratchet & Clank and Resistance, but they also did the open world game in Sunset Overdrive, so this isn't their first open world outing. However, they did say that Spider-Man is a far bigger game than Sunset Overdrive, and Spider-Man, so far, the footage we've seen has looked fantastic. It had a big presence at E3 where we saw a ton of new footage of the game, and it's shaping up very well. This is gonna be the game that does Spider-Man justice like Batman Arkham did Batman justice, and it's going to be released exclusively on the PlayStation 4 on September 7th. Next up, Red Faction Guerrilla Re-Mars-tered Edition. Red Faction Guerrilla was an excellent open world game released last generation, and now it's coming to the PlayStation 4 in the form of a remastered version. And given the fact that Red Faction Guerrilla was released all the way back in 2009, you can't expect the size and scope of Red Faction Guerrilla to be on par with some of the more recent open world games. However, what you can expect out of this game is to have a ton of fun. Red Faction Guerrilla embodies the word fun, especially with its destructibility elements, and you can destroy just about anything with your sledgehammer, explosives, etc. Now, I will say the story leaves a lot to be desired, but overall, Red Faction Remastered Edition looks to be a great game worth picking up. It'll be released on July 3rd. Next up, we have Defiance 2050. Defiance 2050 is an absolutely free-to-play game, so you have no investment in just checking out the game. Of course, there will be microtransaction elements, as there are with any free-to-play game, and Defiance 2050 is a rebuilding of the Defiance universe for current-gen platforms. Expect a very large and ever-evolving world to explore in Defiance 2050 as it's out on July 10th. Next up, Yakuza Kiwami 2. Yakuza is a franchise that's always been well received over in Japan, but over here in the West, it didn't receive the recognition that it deserved until last year, where we saw the release of Yakuza 0 as well as Yakuza Kiwami. Earlier this year, we saw the release of Yakuza 6. All of those games have been great, and now we have Yakuza Kiwami 2, which, much like Yakuza Kiwami, this will be a full-on remake of the second Yakuza game in Yakuza 2, and that's a title that gamers think very fondly of. Many would say that is the best Yakuza game, so seeing Yakuza Kiwami 2 is going to be very nice. Unfortunately, it is priced higher than the first Yakuza Kiwami. Instead of being $29.99, it is $49.99, which kinda sucks. But still, for the quality of game that Yakuza 2 was, it should be well worth it. It released on August 28th. Next up, we have an open-world Japanese RPG, Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age. Dragon Quest is finally back with Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age. Now, if you're a fan of more modern games, Dragon Quest XI might put you off a little bit based on its slow turn-based battle style. A lot of games have moved on from the turn-based style, but for those of you that play Dragon Quest games of past, Dragon Quest XI is gonna hit home with you really hard. Expect some great presentation as Dragon Quest XI Echoes of an Elusive Age hits the PlayStation 4 on September 4th. Next up, we have Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is the latest in the Assassin's Creed lineup of games, being more similar in gameplay and presentation to Assassin's Creed Origins, which is definitely a good thing. However, there are definitely a lot of changes in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. First, at the start of the game, you'll be able to choose between a male or a female character. On top of that, there is more of an emphasis on naval combat in AC Odyssey, which I can definitely get behind, and the game has the excellent Spartan theme going on for it. While I'm still waiting for that Assassin's Creed in feudal Japan, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is shaping up very nicely. It'll be released on October 5th.
Come and take it.
You can't defeat me!
Next up, we have Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise. Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise is actually being developed by the Yakuza team, and this is a game that was already released in Japan earlier this year, but it's now coming over here in the West. And if you're a fan of Fist of the North Star, this is going to be a game that's going to be right up your alley. But at the same time, if you're a fan of the Yakuza games, or you're just a fan of engaging action games, Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise is going to cover you on that end as well. Expect very diverse gameplay, a little bit zany in the presentation as it is Fist of the North Star, but expect it to be a lot of fun, as Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise releases exclusively to the PlayStation 4 on October 2nd. Next up, we have Starlink Battle for Atlas. Starlink Battle for Atlas was one of the more surprising game announcements at E3 done by Ubisoft. It's a third-person action-adventure game set in the Atlas star system. You venture into different parts of the Atlas system, meet with different alien species, and form an alliance with them in order to build a crew. There's also an element of real-life toys included with the game, which will bring characters from the real into the game itself. That sounds like quite a bit of investment and a lot of money to be dropped. I think I'll just be sticking with the base game, as it does look like a pretty cool action-oriented spaceship title. Starlink Battle for Atlas releases on October 16th.
The Legion is growing. There aren't enough of us. We need to find help from every planet in Atlas.
Next up, we have possibly the biggest game of the year, Red Dead Redemption 2. Ever since the announcement of Red Dead Redemption 2, gamers have been absolutely stoked for it, even when we got just a small teaser trailer that didn't give us any information about the game, just because we knew how good of a game Red Dead Redemption 1 was. And the funny thing is about Red Dead Redemption 2, while we know the game is being released on October 26th, this is still a game that there's a lot of mystery surrounding it. We don't know how expansive this game will be, but I imagine it will be pretty damn big. There's gonna be a lot of content, there's going to be so much to do, and of course there will be an online component as well, and that'll increase the longevity of this game even more. Red Dead Redemption 2 will finally be released on October 26th. Speaking of highly anticipated games, this is probably giving Red Dead Redemption 2 a run for its money, and that is Fallout 76. Yes, Fallout is back once again. Rather quickly after the release of Fallout 4, we are getting Fallout 76 just 3 years later. And this one, obviously, the selling point is the online play. The online play will be a huge element to this game, and while you can play Fallout 76 entirely single player, this is a game where you'll probably want to at least give the online functionality a try. Fallout 76 does look a lot of the same from Fallout 4. They are saying it's 4 times the world size of Fallout 4, and that sounds pretty ridiculous. That is something I need to see to believe. But nonetheless, Fallout 76 is prepping to be one of the biggest game releases of the year. It is releasing on November 14th.
Yet these rewards don't come without risk. The fate of this new world is yours to command.
Next up, Just Cause 4. I talked about the word fun embodying Red Faction Guerrilla, but I could also use that word to describe the entire Just Cause franchise. The games are just so much fun to play, and they don't require all too much investment. They don't require you to get super engaged to the characters of the story. This is an open world game where you're gonna shoot things up, you're gonna blow things up, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Now, the issue is, Just Cause 3 was so bad on consoles that I really hope Avalanche gets it right with Just Cause 4, because you could see the fundamentals in Just Cause 3 made for a good game, but the technical issues just made it borderline unplayable. Let's hope they fix things up with Just Cause 4 and it's a far better experience, as the release is not all too far off. It's coming December 4th. And lastly, we have Biomutant. Biomutant is a brand new IP being done by a new studio in Experiment 101 and being published by THQ Nordic. The game itself is an action RPG set in an open world environment, and you take control of a raccoon-like creature in a world filled with mutated animals. Yes, at the very least, you gotta give this game credit for originality. The game is also gonna have a lot of customizability options, from gender, length, body shape, thickness, fur, fangs, and many other attributes that can be directly tweaked and have impact on the stats of the character during gameplay. Throughout the game, you'll unlock a variety of different abilities, and the gameplay itself looks rather fun. Now, this is a game that's scheduled for a 2018 release. We don't have an official release date at this point, and the time is coming up for release dates to be announced on all these games, so I wouldn't be all too surprised if this was a game delayed until 2019, but nonetheless, Biomutant is a game you need to have your eyes on. It has a lot of potential as a new IP. So that is going to conclude this video, 12 big PS4 open world games for the rest of 2018. What do you think? Which of these games are you going to check out? A lot of variety in the open world offerings for the rest of the year. You've got 12 pretty notable titles still to go in the rest of the year. That is pretty significant. So sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.